Okay, people, welcome back to another Play Day. Oh, and this one's themed. We're going to be looking at some offerings from some smaller companies with original IPs. They're coming up with ideas, getting them produced. You may recognize some of these, you may not recognize some of these, but if you're interested in any of the figures you see today, links are down in the description. Okay, let's start with the fresh Monky Fiction Naughty or Nice Father Frost and Barbarian Santa. Yeah, I've been sitting on these for a little bit. I have had their standard Santa out for a long time. And I say long time. I don't even remember when these came out. But I love this figure. So when Wave 2 came around, I wanted to choose something a little different. So Blue Santa made my list, and then come on now. How was I going to pass that up? A lot of reuse from the original Santa, which is the name of the game when it comes to this line. I mean, it's Santa's. Let's put his blue hat on. It's not quite as form-fitting. Well, okay. There's a lot of smoothness up there to hold this one on. This one has some hair to fight it, but you get it into the correct position. It's a little sticky. Not bad. Of course, that's a different head, and then the lower robe piece is way longer here, which I know this is traditional, but there's something more dynamic, more interesting about this one. It helps that there's some paint apps, some tampos that come down and around just to make it more ornate. Some buckles to the boots, this time white instead of black, silver on the buckle instead of gold. A lot more serious too. This one's holly jolly. This one's not so much. He's got some issues. But my favorite thing, well, about this figure and now this figure is the solidness. Yes, it is thick pieces of plastic all attached by articulation. Got some hinge and swivel at the elbow, comes up to there. Dumbbell joint mid-torso, gets some forward and back and side to side and some twist. Even though the jacket is longer down here, it's still a soft material and it's split all the way up on the side. So you can kick up and get him into a sitting position with the hinge and swivel at the knee. Whoop! That's better, Spider-Man's. And then the ankles are so fluid, forward and back, and then some rocker ankle. Neck is a big old ball joint. Doesn't get a huge amount of movement because of the beard and the long hair coming down around the back. So forward and back, not so much, but a little tilt and then side to side. But the big thing here is, like I said, stability. Because of the big boots and the heft to it, not a problem standing it up. There is an alternate head, and you can turn them into, well, okay, that's a little tough. I gotta get behind the camera strength, and in front of this camera, behind this camera. And that makes them more spirit-like with the blue translucent skin. And it works fairly well into the overall color scheme. In fact, it may work a little better. He comes with a wizard-type staff with a matching stone of some kind up at the top. This was separate in the package. It's a peg on top, plugs right in, but that's as far as I can get it to go down, and I'm afraid to push too much further. But it stays on there. I'm good with that. What are we looking at here? You shall not be naughty. Naughty. Comes with a white boxed present with a blue bow, a naughty or nice list, which I think we saw with a bunch of the Santas from Wave 1, a toy train, a few extra hands. Oh, and then a stand that has a nice naughty or nice logo molded into it, which I will never use. Like I said, no problem whatsoever. I was just looking and I realized the neck is still skin tone if you look at it from the side. So, I guess you can see the ball joint inside of there. I think that's the white shining through, but I kind of like that it illuminates the face a little bit. He also has kind of a slight hunch, which I think works well with the staff. Then there's Barbarian Santa, and as much as I like the one in blue and white, I think I may like this one just a little bit better. No one told me that when you pull the pelt off, you have a bearded, bald head. I also really like the tampo work down here. The tattoos, the Christmas tree, the candy cane, the big snowflake, the smaller ones, the bands around the arms. Nothing on back, but when you have this on, it's mostly covered. So, well, so's that, but what you gonna do? Same long lower robe as the blue Santa, but now that I think about it or look at it for extended periods of time, it doesn't make much sense. There's no jacket up here. So is this just, well, I guess it's like a kilt or something. It works. I just psyched myself out, I guess. I thought about it too much. which I do have a problem with sometimes. Same legs underneath as the other Santas, same boot tops, same buckles, but there's a wash thrown into the wrinkles and grooves that give it a grungy look. In fact, I had to double check to make sure it was the same sculpt because of how much more detailed this makes it. I also really dig the brown against the reds. Here's your traditional top Santa. If you were just looking at it here, here's a crotch. You'd be like, oh, it's a Santa. Wait a second. Wait. There's also these new armbands, these bracers with the leather and the straps and the rivets and some fur hanging off the top to match the rest of the costume. Give it kind of that Santa glove top look. Or, well, bottom of sleeve look, I guess. The bear hat is awesome. There's the bear head. It's got the ears, the eyes, the nose, the teeth. And on camera, it looks very bright white. But in person, it's got a gray wash to it to kind of dull it down so you can see the detail a little better. Not super secure. It just kind of sits on there. There. See, yeah, it falls right off when you turn it upside down. But I'm also surprised about how much I like this look. It's just a badass. He's thrown this off. We're going barehanded. We're going boo, boo, boo. Not as many accessories here. There's the hands. There's the stand. That'll never leave this baggie. Same present, except the box is red and the bow and ribbon is silver. I really like that color scheme. That's cool. Have a barbarian battle axe that I didn't pay attention to until I got it out of the package, but look at that reindeer skull. Black wraps around the wooden handle, and then the pommel is just spiky and dangerous. Like the wizard staff, this was in 2 pieces in the package, but this peg fits much better than that one. I get it up to there, and it's very solid, very secure. I went to pose them up to show this off, and I realized that these bracers get in the way of the elbow articulation. You come up, and it doesn't quite reach 90. Otherwise, can move just like the other Santas with the same joints. Oh, he doesn't have any hair, so can look up this time around. And I guess I didn't look at the face a minute ago. Look at that badass. I like that little splash of green in this overall color scheme. It's not anywhere else, so your eyes are drawn to his eyes. But he still has no problem whatsoever striking a kick-ass pose. That is one scary Santa. Oh, look at that. That's pretty sweet. The lack of accessories may be because he comes with this luxurious fur cape. Just look at that. Ooh, and it's double-sided. It's a darker fur on the inside. The edge is folded over and sewn because there's a light wire in there. And I say light wire because it doesn't hold tight. Well, okay, never mind. It does kind of hold tight. It's almost like the material is heavier, but it gives it enough posability to make it look kick-ass when you put it on the figure. There are 2 strings right there, and as you lay it over, you could tie that, which I absolutely hate. I don't like taking clothes off, and I don't like tying small little things. Thankfully, because of the looking up, you can kind of bring it under his beard, push it down, and it holds. But what's even better is if you put the bear pelt on top of that, and that holds the whole thing into place. It does like to push it up just a little. Again, I'd like to have some kind of lock, or maybe I could do this. Let's bring this to here and here and see what it looks like. Okay, that doesn't push the head up as much, and it gives it a little more drape to the bottom, so it'll be on the ground. Or just break down and give it a square knot. Let's see what happens if I tie this. Dang it, I put it too far. Let's move it down. Okay, that's a little tighter. We'll put that there. Oh, slip the string under that. Tie the knot. It works much better. Then with the wire, you can spread it out. It drapes. It hangs. It looks regal. Oh, man. There we go. That's tasty. Next up, let's take a look at the Fist Doom Center and Doom Trooper. Oh, nifty. You get the tray out of the package, and there's a little box like we see with G.I. Joe Classified series. And then I'm guessing that's, yes, all the accessories and the card. Oh, that's more stuff. And a free 3D printable file. You scan it, you print it, and you can alternate. That is neato. They're like ogre military troopers of some kind. Bring down their defenses. But then underneath is just like a standard type uniform. In fact, I took the armor off the second figure just to see what was under there, and there's pockets, there's a zipper, there's a collar buttoned all the way up to the top. Or, well, like I said, zipped all the way up to the top. Some wrinkles, some belt, some slight bagginess, some straps going around the thighs. But then you get down to the boots and it's almost alien-like. It's kind of, well, okay, the neon green on black makes it very, very cool looking, but less military. Don't get me wrong, ain't nothing wrong with that because it ties back, at least on this figure, it ties back into the color scheme. Some of that green to the knee pads and then the shirt itself. The purple on the pants works with this figure's helmet with the mohawk up on top of it. He's also got some goggles and a red beard. So less military-like. This one has the beret up on top. This one's like motorcycle gang. I also like the subtle tiger stripes to the paint job. There's the lighter green on top of a darker, and then a darker purple on top of a lighter. Meanwhile, on the other one, it's gray stripes on a black shirt with green cuffs down at the end of the sleeve, and then lighter green and black stripes on darker green pants. While the boots have gray details, same with the knee pads. Oh, and the gloves have some nice paintwork to them. And it's the same for the armor, shiny black with gray details on top of it. This is a bit floppy, and only because it feels like it's fit for a larger figure. You can see it's kind of floating up above, and then the belt has a lot of space. The other guy's armor has purple accents, which again works into his color scheme. And one shoulder pad, there's a peg for one, so I don't know if that was, well, it's kind of cool. He's the punker type, so he's got one. He's asymmetrical, while this one has two shoulder pads. He's more rigid. He's more regimented. There's peg holes here on the outside of the straps and then here on the top of the armor. So you can plug in a holster right there. And it seems very small. And at first I thought, well, that's not going to go. But it's fairly sturdy. It's not going to just fall off. Of course, the holster needs a pistol that goes in there. Oh, paint job to the little bullets on the outside. Put the knife right here. And yes, the knife does come out of the scabbard. It's painted. It's a nice sculpt. And then he comes with a tiny little something to go right there. And then another set of pouches or something right there. The punk guy comes with this gun. It seems like it's a large cartridge of some kind with a sight up on top. And then a more traditional type. Well, I guess it's the same ammo. They're both grenade launchers, maybe? They both have the big old barrels. While Beret guy has a sniper type rifle and then an energy top of some kind. Trigger finger, hand, push, twist. Stock is a little long to rest against the shoulder, but he doesn't have much of a problem shooting from the hip. Articulation is pretty standard these days. There's a hinge with a ball at the top of the neck. Looks like a butterfly was sculpted, but it's part of the torso. It's not a separate piece. Hinge, bicep, double elbow with pinless. Dumbbell mid-torso, ball joint down at the bottom, so not bad. Ball at the hip, kick and out. Thigh swivel, double knee, same thing. No pins showing. Goes most of the way up. Swivel at the boot with an ankle back, forward, and front. Gonna put his armor back on just to get the full effect here. I'm not sure Gandalf and Aragorn would have won this battle if the ogres and orcs were armed like this. Next up, let's take a look at the Savage Crucible Lemurian Royal Guard. And look at this crazy box they sent it in. I mean, they went all out. And the note said to make sure to look behind the map, which I'm guessing, well, yeah, it's the background in the package. Ooh, look at that. That's nifty. Lemuria on the continent of Caraco. There's a foil packet. Oh, okay. It's larger than your standard trading card. Como of the Isle. It's whoa, strength, dexterity. I don't play a lot of role-playing games, so I don't know what the rest of those are. Melee attacks. Okay. There's a lot more going on than I originally suspected. You know me, I'm in it for the action figures, and oh man, there is so much sculpt and paint going on here. You know the crazy thing I noticed first though? The belly paint, or I guess the torso paint. It's so much lighter than the rest, but it feels so natural, so right. You look around on the back and there's black, like the rest of the body, but as you come around, it's a nice transition to this brighter color, this white. I don't know, that's something I just picked up on. Kinda like the tail. It comes down, it's black, it has these stripes on it, but underneath, oh, there's that white kind of oversprayish look. It just helps that stand out. which is appreciated because there's a lot going on. Like I said, on the black parts, there's white stripes going on up here on top of the head and on the sides of the face. You have those beady red and yellow eyes poking out at you. Down on the legs, there's some more stripes on the outside. Same thing on the hands and up at the arms. Claws down at the feet and the same thing at the hands. The texture to the body looking awesome because you get to the armor and there's some smooth planes. There's a lot on top of it, steps to it, layers, but it's very metal-like, and that's a nice contrast to the body itself. Because there you have this silver dry brush that brings out all the beautiful sculpted details, the rivets, the plates and everything. But then there's that gold color on top of that. Well, I say gold, it's kind of copperish, huh? And that works really well with the silver. Buckles being painted on the scabbards, and you know me, I love that extra detail. Kind of the same thing at the bracers and when you get down to the legs, the shin guards. There's some green underwear underneath, and yes, it is supposed to be underwear. There's some sculpted wrinkles, and then on the back it looks like the tail just pokes through. Just the overall look is awesome. I love how the armor stands out, but also is a part of the overall design. It just all works together. Some very nice engineering going on too. You saw me peel away the shoulder pad. That's because it's pegged in the back. So it has some rotation to it to go up and down, but it does a good job of staying in front and looking like a shoulder pad, like it was attached somewhere else. It definitely does not hinder shoulder movement. You come around here and here and here, and it just flows. Then the waist gear floats up and down. If you want to raise it up a little bit, bring it down, whatever you need to do to get it out of the way of articulation. Same with the chest plate. It just kind of floats there. It does have straps coming down and around. And oh, more buckle. I love it. At first I thought the tail was bendy, but no, there's a hinge and swivel at the top, so it can come in and out and rotate a little, and then there's a segment there and a segment there with the same articulation, so it bends, it twists, so you can get some bending to it, and it's very natural feeling. It doesn't break up like you would think with actual joints being in there. The elbows are double with a hinge and swivel up and a hinge and swivel in the gauntlet somewhere, kind of like what NECA does. It does only come up to 90, but that's because the armor's running into the upper arm. You can see it down here at the knee. See the upper and lower hinge, but it's a full piece in the middle, not just a kneecap or something. So you come to there and then there, and it just works. It doesn't break up. And then the head is on a dumbbell joint, so it can look up and around and down and side to side, while the middle also has some dumbbell joints. Look at the range of that crunch. And then it's ball joints coming out to the hips, but because of the armor getting out of the way, there's there, and there. Toe joints, along with your standard ankles going forward and back and rocker. There's an alternate set of hands getting all reptilian on you, scratching. But I'm going to be using these mean looking swords. There's two that are curved, kind of scimitar. Same nice paint jobs to the handles. And then there's more of these big old cleaver types with a hook. Oh man, could you imagine getting slashed with this thing and then dragged like across? Oh, guts. I love how they did the weapon holders, the scabbards, the sheaths. Well, I don't know what they're called when they look like this. They're just clips that kind of pinch down on the weapon. So it doesn't matter what the size is or shape or anything. You get it in there, it's going to hold it. You can take the curved ones, stab them into there. You can pull them out this way, but no matter what you do, they're going to stay on the back because it's a tight pinch. Maybe he's just guarding the castle gates to Lemuria or something, just standing, waiting for something to happen. Or enemies are at the door. Oh man, that is just tough looking. Did I mention the mouth opens? Just when you thought there was nothing else to look at, there's that. I can't wait to see more of Savage Crucible. And there's more, because they've been setting up at shows and just killing it. You can also cross the swords on the back. Oh, so many options. Last but not least, there's the Astrobots Apollo and Hyperion. Hyperion, it's a big ass robot. And ooh, do I love Hyperion. But I kind of knew I would because I love the Astrobots Vulcan. In fact, I named this my figure of the year for 2023. So getting that same basic design in the reds and the browns and the oranges and the whites and the grays, oh yeah, I love it. They share parts, but there's also differences. As you can see here, Hyperion has more of a rectangular shoulder. It also has regular your hands instead of the drills. Well, you can take the drills off and there's a claw, but it's different. The forearms are the same, but they changed these plates right here, or this attachment, or this outside something. Vulcan has vents for nipples. Hyperion has some kind of cover things. Oh, and Vulcan also has a handle or a roll bar or something right there and right there. Hyperion does not have those. The ankle covers have these chunky bits on the outside, and then over here, it's plain. It's actually just got rivets and then some tampo to it. And then, of course, the heads, because you need different personalities. There's Vulcan, and then Hyperion with kind of an Iron Man aesthetic going on. Basically the same, but Vulcan comes off much more construction worker, and Hyperion is... well, I don't know. He's got the grippy hands, kind of a warrior type, or going out exploring. Or I could read the back of the box. Hyperion is the senator of Atlas City's industrial zone. Using his vast teams of engineers, called Roughnecks, he toils endlessly to build and expand the facilities of Colony World 1. I guess they're both construction types. There is a light up feature. You can see the LEDs right there. There's a button back here. You push it, turn on the headlamps. There's solid, and you push it again and it turns into kind of a blinker type situation. I don't know how long that'll go on for. It's blinking, it's blinking, it's blinking, but then you push it again and it goes off. But then you get into the articulation, and that is what makes Astrobots so special, at least to me. I cannot begin to explain how many joints and moving points there are on this figure. Up and over, and you have outer joints going there, going all the way. But if you pop this, you can also go forward and back with those big honking arms. Double elbow, all the way. Wrist and individual knuckle joints for every finger. The robot's actual hands have the same thing, every joint to every finger. Then there's the shoulders. I don't know what sorcery is going on here, but it pops out, and you can just go any direction you want with the arm around. It's crazy. Same thing with the elbows there, all the way up. You say you want some crunch? How about some crunch? The head is a little hindered because of how much stuff is all around it, but you can get it to look up, and then some tilt and around, and just, yeah, ahead. There's flaps around the waist that go up and out of the way for the hips to come here and out and back. Swivel at the thigh with a knee that is single, so it only goes to there, but a big chunky robot, come on. Some parts do pop off. I think they're supposed to, just in case you push it to the limit. Because I knocked this off a minute ago, and it's just on a peg that you plug right back in. Same thing with these side pieces. In fact, is that how they change up the looks between robots? Ankles go way back. It has this separate piece, and forward, and there's some rock to them, and a toe joint. Like I said, I'm missing stuff. There's so much going on with these that you can pretty much do whatever you want to do with them. And they're going to hold up. They're sturdy. They have ratchet joints. It's so freaking good. The torso has some rocker too. And then there's the lights again. I keep hitting the button. But then there's Apollo, and unless I'm mistaken, I think this was the original Astrobot. I remember talking about this thing years and years and years ago, but I've never got a chance to lay hands on it, and now that I do have it, it's that same crazy shoulder joint. But now that I do, it feels very ape-like, and that's okay because that allows it to get into all kinds of weird poses that arcs back and forward and tilt around, and again the shoulders in and out and swivels and elbow, and okay, the hips are a little bit hindered compared to everything else here because they kick at an angle, so as you come up there's no in, it swings out, but somehow, oh okay, there's a hinge right there. You can do this on the outside of it. Oh, well, hindered was the wrong word, I think. I meant to say it's just oddly articulated. You can still pose it, obviously, but it's there's a learning curve to it, slightly. Let's do some knee, and then ankle around and side to side and toes. And while the toes are one piece hinged right there, the fingers, again, are just articulated at every joint. So you can bend into slight curves, or you can go full-on fist. Again, the head is kind of sunk down into the body, but you can see that there is all kinds of movement all the way around. And if you want to hunker down really far, it even looks up very, very nicely. Oh, the shoulders have that same kind of joint. This has a hinge on the inside of it to bring it through that piece. That is nifty as all hell. I found the battery cover completely by accident, but it says it needs an AG13, and I don't believe I have those. Vulcan and Hyperion takes AG2, LR726, and since I already had Vulcan, I already had these batteries. But now that I've opened Apollo, I guess I need to order some different batteries now. Did you expect that big chunky robot to get into a running pose with one foot on the ground? Oh man, and it's sturdy. It's not just barely balanced there. It's there. Then Apollo looking all badass over here. Oh, I love these things. So at the end of the day, I got to play. And that means it's a good day. Again, if you're interested in any of the figures here, the links are in the description to the creators, to the individuals, the people out there doing it for themselves. Just, hey, we came up with this. Let's see what we can do by getting them actually produced and into other people's hands. And that's where I come in, because I like getting stuff in my hands. Just so much goodness out there. Even if something's not for you, there's something else. And if you can't find anything you like out there, then ooh, I don't think you're looking hard enough, because there's a bunch. I remember being at PowerCon last year, and it was just table after table after booth after booth after table. Just so many people just throwing their ideas out there. And it's like, oh, that, what? But I like a lot of stuff. I like playing. I like toys. So that's where I am. If you see anything, go after it. Get it, support it, because that's what these people need. They need support in order to make more stuff and keep that wheel a-rolling. Because if we don't support it, then it doesn't happen. And then all we're left to do is to sit online going, I wish somebody was out there making toys.